Hi, Alan.
Hello. What Daf? I missed. My what Daf is it tonight?
Wait.
You what? 86, 88.
It's
Ernie,
Daf,
pretty good. She's fun.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
They're good.
very nice personality.
They're a good team. She's fun.
yeah, but she's a yachne. But it's okay. I like them.
yeah, she has a personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are they from?
Queens.
Queens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he's a sophisticated posek. I've dealt with him in fertility issues.
Yeah, I heard him speak once before at a Pua thing. He knows the stuff. He's polished. He knows. He's good.
He's a very sophisticated Talmud Chacham.
Yeah.
He would be an asset for the whole community,
Oh yeah.
not just for young Israel.
But he said so.
And he learned at Keren B'Yavna. He learned at yeshivas. He's got a nice. Okay, so we're on Pei Tes. Pesachim Pei Tes 89. So we're dealing with the case where there were 5 people who brought a korban Pesach. The hides got mixed up. They discovered a hide had a wart on it, so that the animal was so one of them was not Makayim korban Pesach. So the Gemara wanted to know, well, maybe they should make a Tanai and say if I owe the korban Pesach, let it be a korban Pesach. If it's not, let it be a shlomim. So the Gemara says we can't do that. We should make it because of the choke. A shlomim, you have to give the breast and the thigh to the kohen. Now you can't do that in this case because it might be a korban Pesach, and then the kohen is eating from a korban Pesach that he wasn't subscribed to. So that you cannot work. That won't work. The kohanim would achlilei. So the Gemara has a solution. Nesi kol chad v'chad kohen badei. Let each person bring a kohen with him and subscribe him to it, and that way the Tanai would be either it's a korban Pesach and he's subscribed, and it's a shlomim, and we have a kohen who can eat it. So hi kohen echidami. So what's going to be with this kohen? Ida avid Pesach. If the kohen already had offered a korban Pesach, Dilma Pesachu. Well, then you can't bring 2 korban Pesachs, and maybe this animal is a real Pesach. V'nimtza Pesach nechal shalom nuyav, and he was not subscribed to it because he was already subscribed to a different one. V'do lo yavid Pesach, and if the kohen hadn't done a Pesach, maybe Dilma Shlomim hu. Maybe this Ein Chanami is the Shlomim korban, and he won't be Yotze korban Pesach, Lavid Pesach. So that won't work. So the Gemara says, "V'nesi kol chamisha chad kohen de lo yavad Pesach." Let each one of these 5 people bring a kohen who hasn't done a korban Pesach. V'nimni elvoi hani chamisha psachim, and let them each one be appointed to one of the animals, which potentially is a Pesach. The mimon of shach. Either way, ikechad de lo yavid Pesach. One of those 5 had not done a korban Pesach, and the konofki bay, and then therefore the kohen, at least assigned to him, will be yotze. Oh no, nesi kol chami. Let them. All 5 of them will bring one kohen. They'll find one kohen who hadn't offered a korban Pesach, and then all 5 people will subscribe him. Comes out one of them certainly was not Makayim Pesach, and the konafki ben this kohen will be yotze for that korban Pesach. But then mishum de komamoed b'achila shlomim, But then you have a problem that since one of the animals is a shlomim, and normally a shlomim is eaten for 2 days and a night, and the ilu pesach liyom v'layla v'ilu shlomim shnei yomim v'layla echad, you're reducing the days that you eat a shlomim, which is not permitted. Says the Gemara, so don't bring a regular shlomim. Nesi moiser pesach. We know the din that if somebody designated 2 animals to be a korban pesach, and he already offered one of the animals as a korban pesach. The other one is called a moiser pesach, and the moiser pesach can be korev shlomim. V'neima, and then let the person say EDD balmum, each one's going to bring a moiser pesach. No, the 5 people, no one knows which one of theirs was a balmum. So each person will say, if mine was the balmum, hi the icy hashta nevi pesach, then let this korban be the korban pesach that I need. But EDD tamu. But if my animal was a unblemished korban pesach, and therefore I've already been yosek korban pesach, never high, let this animal, the icy that I've just brought, hashta shlomim, that'd be a shlomim, and then we don't have a problem with eating it for too little time, because the din is the moiser pesach nechal liyom v'layla echad. A moiser pesach is different than a regular shlomim because it's only eaten for 1 day and 1 night. We don't mafresh lechatchila an animal and say it's a moiser pesach. We're mafresh an animal and it's a korban pesach. Then, if it so happens that you offered another animal as a korban pesach, it becomes a moiser pesach. You can't all of a sudden create a moiser pesach.
How would the shlomim, Moshe Pesach, how would you eat the shlomim achra Pesach? If you eat the Pesach, you can't eat maftir achra Pesach.
No, but you can eat the shlomim the following day.
But only 1 day then? Only 1 day, not 2 days. And
Yeah. Because a moiser pesach can be eaten
So you won't
for
eat
a
it
day
that
and a
night.
night.
But you won't eat it.
Or they offer let's say it's Yud Daled Nisan, they offer the animals a shlom and they eat it in the daytime. Lo ein maftim achar pesach afi koimen, that's at night. That the last thing you have to eat is the korban pesach. But in the daytime you can eat the shlomim.
Yeah.
V'nitrachu v'naisi moisra pesach. So you can find other people who happen to have a moisra pesach. You don't mafresh tchila lemoisras, but you can find a moisra pesach. So the Gemara says the problem is mishum smicha. You still have a problem. Ilu pesach lo boy smicha. The moisra boy smicha. You don't do smicha on a korban pesach. You do smicha on a shlomim. So you're not going to know which one to do here. But that's only a problem, hatinich korban anoshim. That's only when a male brings a korban shlomim that you do smicha. But korban noshim, that doesn't require smicha. Then in a chanami, what you could do is look around in the community for a woman who had donated, who has a moiser pesach that you can use, and then you don't have to do smicha. Ela mishum matanois. How many sprinklings of the blood of a korban pesach versus a shlomim on the mizbeach? The ilu pesach matona achas. You only have to apply the blood in one place. The ilu shlomim shtaim shein arba. A shlomim you have to pour on the 2 corners where you splash north-south and east-west. I'm saying northwest. That means you splash on the corners where it gets 2 walls at the same time with 2 splashes. So you end up splashing on 4 walls. So the Gemara says, but that's not a problem. My nafkamina vatnan kol anitonim on mizbech achitzon shenosam mat nachas kiper. It means bidi eved. Even korbanos that you normally have to sprinkle 4 times, like a chatas, which is the most sprinkling, If in the end you only did it once, you still get kapara. So even if you only did it one for a korban pesach, and it could have been a shlamim, the shlamim gives you the shlamim is accepted. So why don't we do it? Because the methodology of pouring the blood is different. Mishum de'ilu pesach b'shvicha v'ilu shlamim b'zrika. A pesach is poured near the mizbech, and a shlamim you have to actually sprinkle. So the ma'inaf kamina, but even then it's not going to be a problem because vatane kol anitonim b'zrika shenasnu b'shvicha yotza. In the end, even though the lechatchila you're supposed to do it that way, in the end, if you're supposed to do zrika and you did shvicha, you're still yotzei. Okay, but aimer to karmina di'evet. That's only after the fact. Lechatchila not lechatchila nami. Going to say that lechatchila you should take an animal and do a korban and not do it in the right way. Lechatchila, we're not going to do it that way. That's why we have no solution for the case of the 5 guys with the hides that got mixed up. Okay, Mishnah. A man is walking from Tel Aviv with his family, and they're making Aliyah L'Regel. And he says, I will shech the Korban Pesach on behalf of one of my sons who makes it to Yerushalayim first. L'chora, he's being memane only that son. Mor says no. Mishnah says no. Kivan shechlis harishon rosh v'rubo zochel chelko u'mizakas echavimo. The one who makes it there first, he is zoicha in his chelek, but he's zoicha his brothers as well. All he was trying to do is to mizares them to get there quickly. But he really was nimna all of them, and he wanted the first one who gets there to be zoicha on behalf of the other brothers. Well, if this works, Shema Mino says the Gemara Yesh Breira. Again, looks like even though retroactively when he shechts it, he doesn't know who's going to be there first. It's whoever comes there first, retroactively, whoever read over the Mafreya, that it was shechted on his behalf. And yet we know throughout Shas that we're mesupik whether there is Breira or not. We're not. He designated all of them, and even at the beginning, he wanted to be Mazaris them to come quickly. Dekanami, I'll prove it to you. Diktani Mazake Echavimo. We said the first son who gets it there, he's Mazake for all the brothers. That only makes if it makes sense. He appointed all of them initially to be subscribed to the Korban Pesach Shapir. If he was not moined them to the Korban Pesach in the beginning, so how can he after he shechts be mismana them? But nan you may subscribe people, and people can unsubscribe up until you do shchita. Once you do shchita, it's all set in stone. So Shema Mina, that our case must be talking about where the father has already subscribed everybody lechatchil. There was a case where the daughters came first. The girls were performed with alacrity, and the children and the sons were lazy. Mishnah. You can subscribe and subscribe and subscribe more and more people up until there's only a kazayas for each person. If there's a limit, if the animal provides 100 kazasim, so you can subscribe 100 people. You can't subscribe 101. It's got to have at least a kazayas for each person. Then the Mishnah gives a halacha. You can keep on subscribing up until the time you shecht, and people can pull out of a Korban Pesach and join another one at any time also until you shecht. Reb Shimon Omer, you know what? Ad sheyizrak Saddam. You can even subscribe people after shechita, but you can't do it after zrika Saddam. Freit the Gemara, my kamash malon, hakamash malon dafal gav the imni alav chavura zu. Even though there was a whole group already subscribed, chozeres, they can pull out as long as it's before shechita. V'nimin alav chavura acheres, and another whole group can be subscribed to this Korban Pesach. As long as there's a kazayas for each person. Nimin moshech tzidem ad sheyesh amra baya. Machlokes li moshech. This machlokes between the Tanakam and Reb Shimon is regarding pulling out. The Rabbanan Savi mios miseh. That means mechayusa deseh. As long as the seh is alive. If the seh is not alive, you can't pull out. Because the pasuk says, Im yimata bayit miyot miseh. So the havaya of the seh is what triggers. Once you shech the seh and it's not alive anymore, you can't pull out. Rabbi Shimon Sav Maviyasa the seh. It's not from the life of the seh. The seh has meaning up until Zrika Saddam. That means, what's the whole point of this seh? To be shechted, for you to collect the blood and do Zrika Saddam so that the korban is accepted. So the Havaya of the seh is up until Zrika. So the Abaye wants to say that the machlokas with Tanakam and Reb Shimon is regarding pulling out of a subscription. But regarding Limonois Divra Kol Ad Sheyishchat, everybody agrees that you cannot subscribe new people to a korban after shechita. Up until shechita you can do it, after shechita you can't anymore. The Omar Krobi Michsas Tefashos, the Hodr Tachosu. Tachosu is mashma tishchatu. That means first subscribe in Michsas Tefashos and then shecht. After shechting, there's no more Michsas Tefashos. You can't add any people to the subscription. And Tainam Oachi, there's a baraisa to support what Abaya just said. You can subscribe and pull out up until Shechit. Reb Shimon Omer, he says, again, this is exactly like Abaya. He agrees that the subscription is only until Shechita. However, so the baraisa is exactly like Abaye explained our Mishnah. So, pay test on the base. Mishnah. Hanamane imo acher bechelko. A person who is subscribed to Korban Pesach schleps along some other person without the knowledge of the other Chabura. So the group can give the guy who brought a crasher his share. And they don't want to eat with them. They say, go out and eat your own group and with your friend. Rashi says this mission is going according to the Pshat that the Pesach can be eaten b'shtei chavuros. That's why they're allowed to do that. Iboiluhu. Let's say one of the people who subscribed is a glutton. He eats quickly and he eats a lot. That means he's going to end up eating more of a share than another person in the group. Can the Chabura sort of throw him out and say, take your piece and we don't want to eat with you? That means eat your portion and then we want you to leave. And we don't want you to detract from our normal chelek. Can they do that? Mi amrina motzi armelu hakabiltun. Perhaps they're not allowed to do it. Because he could say to them, what do you mean? You accepted me. Oy dilma matzu lememer la ya ki kablina letikun izvicha. We accepted you because it's hard to purchase a korban pesach and to eat it all up. We wanted you as part of that in order to make sure that we can deal with this korban. But but if we would have known that bringing you on, you would eat more than us, lo kablinach, on those terms, we don't accept you. So that's the iboiluhu. That's the shaila we don't know. So Toshma, the Gemara wants to learn from our Mishnah. Let's say somebody schlepped along a crasher. The Chabur can kick him out, give him his chelek. And my time, I mean, if a regular subscriber who brings along a crasher, isn't that analogous to what we just said? That he's going to eat more than the regular guys? It's the same thing. And you said before that maybe even the guy who eats a lot can say to the group, listen, you accepted me. So maybe this guy's the same thing. The guy who brought a crasher can say the same thing, you accepted me. No, day or shiny. The fact that in this case there's two different people, that's not the same as one person. Maybe one person could say you accepted me. That means this is now an extra person. That two people like one person, let's say if one person eats like two people, that's one thing. But in this case, where the guy brought a crasher, perhaps they have a real time and say, we don't want a strange person here, we don't know. Perhaps they can't say to the one person who eats like two people that they don't have a leg to stand on to tell them not to. But in this case, they have a leg to stand on. So there's no raya from our Mishnah. Toshma hashamish sha'achal kazayis bos b'tzadat tanur. You have a waiter who's servicing as a waiter to the chabura. And he set up himself a place to eat a kazayis of the meat near the oven. And we already learned wherever you eat the korban pesach, you can't eat in a new place. So imratzu bnei chabur lasos tovimo. Let's say he wants to eat more, but he can't go to a different place. So if the chabura will do him a toiva, they'll move over to him. Because that's the same place that he ate. Elu din Rabbi Yehuda. But that's rotzu in. That's only if they want to. Lo rotzu lo. But they have a choice not to. B'amai. Name lahu. The shamish should say to them, what do you mean? Hakabiltun, you accepted me. Shiny also, yeah, but there it won't work. We accepted you. Come on, you're going to serve us. The mitron lola yirach, for us to serve you by moving over. Lo kablinach. On those terms, we didn't accept you. Toshma. B'nei chabura shaya yodav shalechad ben yafos. You have a chabura. One of them eats double the another guy. So Rishoin Loimar, they're allowed to tell him, Tol chalka chavitzei. Go out, take your piece, no more than what you deserve, that you subscribe to lo. But that's not even by the korban pesach. Afilu chamisha v'asu siboles. If 5 people and they're eating a dinner among friends, like a combined shared dinner, there's the same thing. It's like etiquette. Rishoin Loimar lo, Tol chalka chavitzei. So Shema Mina. So the Gemara has a good proof regarding our question. And what does it mean, velo od? Not only. So Eina Chanami, lo maboy karma. Not only this, but this also. Lo maboy Pesach. Not only in the case of a korban by the matzi or meleki kablinach, where there's a svara to say, when we accepted you, l'tikune zvicha, it was to make it easier for us to deal with this korban pesach, purchasing it, eating it. We need a certain number of people, but that's not necessarily because this is a group that's gathering out of friendship to eat together. No, it's practical because Korban Pesach was a big animal. Not everybody can eat a whole amount, so you need a lot of people. But so don't tell me that you only have that reshus by the Korban Pesach, where you have such a svara. Elafilu siboilis nami. Even by a friendly dinner party, the tzaf sab'almahu, that's just regular entertainment. It's just a partnership in the meal. Still, Rishon Lomer Lo Tochak would say, they can still tell the guy, take your part and go out. Ikedi Amri, other people learn Haloi Boilon. Really, we didn't have a shaila. Elachi Hudi Boilon. This is what was the problem for us. B'nei Chabur Rishon L'Chalik. Can a Chabur break up into two? Oh, and a Rishon L'Chalik. So Torshma B'nei Chabur Shayu Yodav Shalachah Ben Yafos. Rishon Lomer Lo Tochak would say, they can send them out, basically creating two Chaburas. But the Gemara is Medayik. Yodav Yafos in. That's because they had a reason to throw him out. Ein Yodav Yafos slow. But if he normally eats like everybody else, they can't throw him out. So Shema Minah, that you're not allowed to break up a Chabura without a specific reason. Shema Minah. Rav Papa Rav Huna brother of Yoshua, Arivu Riftu Badi Adodi. Rav Papa and Rav Yoshua, they are going to eat together like a friendly meal together, they're going to share their bread. It took, while Rav Huna was eating one piece of bread, Rav Papa arba. Rav Papa ate 4. Omar le plagli. He said, let's divide the Suda. Let me take my part. I see if we keep on going this way, there's not going to be anything left for me to eat because you're eating 4 times as fast as me. So let's divide what's left, and you go your way, and I'll go my way. Omer Lei said, "What do you mean, Kabiltun? You've accepted me, and you can't do what you want to do." So Eisvei Kolhani Tiyufta. So we asked all these kashas that we asked before. Vishani Kiddushin, when we fanfared all the kashas that we answered, because each one is its own mikra. So there was no proof from those places that he could throw them out. Esvei bnei Chabura. They asked him about the bnei Chabura, that there it looks like they can chase him out. Yeah, but that's a different svara. That's, you accepted all these people because you had a special need to deal with the korban. Then Esvei Siboles, they asked him the question about the party, where they were there, at least it seemed that they could ask him to leave. So now L'chora, he has something to stand him. So Plagle, so he did divide the Suda based on that. Okay, Ozal Arav Badi Ravina. So another time, he joined the Suda with Ravina, meaning Ravuna brother of Yeshua. So again, Ravuna brother of Yeshua, Ravina Tamne. Ravina ate 8 pieces of bread. Omar mea papi v'chadi Ravina. I'd rather have 100 Rav Papas than 1 Ravina. It's not exactly the right math. It was 4 to 8. It's just, he could have said, I would have had 2 Papas than 1 Ravina, but he said, I'd rather have 100. He made a guzma. Ton Rabbanon. Hamimana acher mimo al pischo v'chagigoso. He joined with a group of people on the Pesach and on the Korban Chagiga, and he accepted money for those chalakim. Mo shebiyoda chulin. The money is chulin. To the Meforsh time of the Kame, Rashi. Sh'afal pi sha'nimne kvar higdish ma'osav l'kach. The one who was subscribed to the Korban Pesach already designated his money, was magdish the money for that. And the Memanis Kvar Higdish Pischo, Mechalan Amos ala Pesach, the money goes out l'chulin anyways on the Korban Pesach. But Amoicher Oiloso Shlomov, let's say a person comes to the Beis HaMikdash with an oil and a shlomim, and he tries to sell it. Lo asav lo klum, he can't sell it. There's no transaction. Most koshen yiplu nedava. But the money that he quote unquote collected should go for nedava. What's going on? If there's no transaction, most yiplu nedava. Why should there be a change in the structure of the money? In Echanami, there isn't mikra din. Knosa. It's a fine because he tried to do that. We knas him that the money should go in the dova. So what do you mean most kol shehem? It's afal gavdolo yavu shovel arba. Let's say the animals were worth 4. The avale chamisha and he gave 5. So it's afilu ba'yisera nami katsurabonon. He all 5 become a problem for me as a yiplu nedava. We knas him even in that situation. Amar ula vitem Rabbi Shaya. After yadi chavim bavloi time at milsa. Remember, we said Ula used to travel back and forth between Eretz Yisrael and Bavel. So Ula said maybe there's one of the people, the Talmidei Chachamim who are smart here, who know the following reason, who know the following answer. Zehi frish tlele pischo. This person separated a sheep for his Pesach. Zehi frish mos lepischo, and this person set aside money for his Korban Pesach that he's going to go and buy. So once he was mafresh the tleh, so he was already magdish it. Now he was magdish money, so the core of the money also becomes hegdish. Hegdish chalal hegdish. How could that money have a chalos hegdish? And how would it be chal on the tleh that's also hegdish? It's hegdish on top of hegdish, which we said before. Diktoni moshe b'yodachulin. In order for that money to go out l'chulin, the money that was designated as hegdish has to have some kind of action on the animal. But the animal's already hukdash. So how can that money go out l'chulin if there's nothing? If you take money that you designated as hegdish, and you say that this should go to buy a chulin animal. So the hegdish of the money goes on to the chulin animal. The animal becomes hegdish, and the money is yotzei lechulin. But here, if the Korban Pesach is already hegdish Pesach, and I was magdish the money, and I try to be machal of the money on the animal, how can it be hey hegdish chalal hegdish? Diktoni moshe b'yadachulin. Amar Abaya. He'll give us the teretz tomorrow.
Okay, what time tomorrow night?